Okay, rightio, guys. I'm just going to kick off this meeting here. This is Marius Landman. I live here in Australia, in Brisbane, and we've got a guest here today, which is John Singleton. Many of you guys have heard, we've spoken about John here. John, you're actually kind of like a celebrity here between our teams here.
Oh, really? Okay.
So people have been asking to get you on here for literally weeks, haven't you, Mike?
Okay.
So,
Oh my
John,
gosh. All right.
yeah, without further ado, many people know you already, so I'm not going to introduce you actually, but I really want to give you the floor, John, for the first 10 or 20 minutes to explain what you do. And guys, we will record this. You can go back and have a look at that again. And just so you know, John, we've got about 5,000 people that is in our premium membership. There's probably about, I think, about 300 people that are subscribed to the webinars. So your message will go out to top 300 people and maybe a little bit more, and we hope to give you some business. But in return, guys, it's very important that we understand this. You want to protect yourself. And I will give it over to you, John, and you just take the floor and just go. Thank you very much for being on, John.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Marius. Okay, so for about 25 years, I've been looking at consumer debt issues and debt situations with small businesses, and I've come up with different strategies over the years that would allow me to eliminate or remove as much liability as possible, the collection problems, while maintaining the same accounting function. So I don't have to have a conversation with the company's accountant, or I don't have to have the individual change his tax situation, but I can eliminate a problem with our tax collector. And mostly it's with the states here. Recently, I've come up with a different set of strategies for people outside the states, and I'll publish that soon. But typically, I use a flow-through structure, a pass-through. In the states, it's known as a limited liability company. You can do that with accounting or other structures, but here it's pretty simple with an LLC. And I use it for windfalls. I use it for, ironically, the same structure I can use for windfalls and huge debt problems. I'll give an example. Here in the States, let's say our tax people, the IRS, will just destroy a business for whatever reason. Maybe the person owed, maybe he didn't. They'll destroy a small business, and they'll just keep taking the money, and they'll keep auditing them until there's nothing left, and then the IRS moves on. So the way I fix that problem is I come in there and I actually, what I do what's called killing the host. So I destroy the business by redirecting how the business receives its capital, its cash flow or whatever, and I take it away from the core business. So now the core business just dies. There's nothing left, and the IRS goes, well, I guess we killed it, and they move on. In the meantime, I've got everything restructured over here in a new structure, and maybe there's some new accounting, depends, and then I show the client how to scale up. So that's the general idea of what I've been doing. And so recently, cryptos and precious metals and some other things have been popular. And people have been selling commercial real estate and some stock and whatnot, and they get these little windfalls. So I set up structures to deal with that so that they don't take the initial hit on taxes. And so you can do this in any country. What I like about the States is I can use just a company. I don't have to be an expert in accounting to get tax deferment. I can use a limited liability company. Now in the UK or Australia or these places, I can actually use a joint stock company. I can use a partnership. It's a little more complicated, but the idea is the same. I want the liability to get paid out to a company that's not me, because I don't have tax deferment. I'm an individual. So if I get some kind of gain or income or fiat money in my name, it's reported, then I'm on the hook for that. So instead, I move it over to a company, and then I can control how I receive that money. And if I want to take my windfall, let's say, in my local currency, dollars, and I put it in my company, I can then pay it out to another asset. So a lot of people are talking about, I want to go from cryptos because I think I'm going to make $1 million, and then I want to go into buy an apartment complex or something. And I want to do it with the least amount of tax consequence. So we take tax deferment, we move the money to the structure, and then go into the new asset. Here's an example of how that might work. Let's say I've got a Coinbase account, and all of a sudden Bitcoin's worth a lot more, and I want to sell. So I can take my Bitcoin from Coinbase and put it in a private wallet, let's say a paper wallet, and I can take that money from Bitcoin in Bitcoin, and I can open an escrow account. Now you can do this in any country, but here it's called a qualified escrow account. Qualified simply means that it's a third party for real. It's not your Uncle Bob or anything like that. It's a third party qualified escrow service. We take the Bitcoin, open a contract, and qualified escrow. Then I go to my seller, and we do a closing arrangement where the seller gets what he wants. Maybe he wants Bitcoin, maybe he wants gold, maybe he wants dollars. It doesn't matter, because the escrow agent is going to transfer the Bitcoin value into what the seller wants, and the seller is going to give me the title to what I want. And then we close the transaction. And so I've gone from Bitcoin to my next asset. It's more like going from gold to silver, or from my right hand to my left hand with a gold coin. That's what we try to keep all the transactions like. So that's like a quick summary. I do some other things too, like make people disappear on paper, as I say. It depends on a person's situation. The most recent example is a woman was calling me where she was being stalked. In fact, she was being stalked by the police. I mean, stalked, like a gang would do this. And I don't know what the deal was. At first, I didn't believe her, but after a few calls, I was like, look, here's what we do. So we made it so that it looked like she moved somewhere, but she actually physically moved somewhere. She did have to move in that case. So she moved, and I made it to where none of her documents were traceable, but she had her complete set of identity, however she needed it. So that's, so sometimes I have to do things like that, but a lot of times it's about getting privacy with your money. And I personally believe that you and the use of your money should be a secret. We should not be, if we want a bank account, we should be able to go in the bank and say, I want a numbered account, and get it with a password or something, just like on the Born Identity, right? Just like on that movie. So.
Yeah, exactly. John, I've actually had a look at your website with regard to getting people to disappear over the internet. And I wish I knew you about probably 2 or 3 years ago, because many of you guys know that our company here in Australia, we don't just do Bitcoin algorithm analysis. We actually do algorithm analysis for political campaigns all over the world, and they pay us to do that work. And as you know, I've been involved in the Donald Trump campaign, and it's been a nightmare ever since, because there's so much hate. Now, we did data analysis for the Hillary Clinton campaign as well as the Trump campaign, but still people are just, and I try to hide my identity, John, by creating a name, JP Moore, but it still didn't work. You have to be so careful, people will find you out. But from the information that I read on your website, and I was given that through Jay, you are aware of Jay?
Yes.
And it's pretty good information there. I wish I knew you a long time. And guys, really, this is important. Many of you don't show your faces here, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You may want to have a look at this data, the disappear of the internet. I can't, I can't do it. Many people know me now. And by the way, I just want to release our data here also, only to you guys. Our algorithm data actually points who will win the next election by a very small margin. And I'm not going to release this to the public, but our data shows exactly like it showed a year or 2 years before the previous election. It actually shows that Donald Trump wins the next election. Now, this is not a political speech, you guys. I know some of you may not like Donald Trump, but I'm just telling you what we see in our data. So, John, if there's anything that you want to share on the screen, please feel free to go ahead. Many of our members here really want to know about the tax, because I'm not saying avoid tax, guys, but pay your taxes. The Bible says, pay the taxman what you owe him, not what he asks.
And the law says you should pay the least that's allowed. You shouldn't go out of your way to pay more. It's just like with these cryptos, people are trying to do the right thing, and they're evaluating the cryptos in between coins without going into their local currency, and then filing a report saying how much the valuation has changed in their local currency, even though they didn't take the gains, and they're paying a tax on it. Yeah, it's not necessary, obviously. Yeah, and so and they're good spirit about it. I mean, when I hear the story, you can tell they're like, too bad I did that, but hey, I want to learn. And I always say, we look at it like this: it's your tuition. And the reason why we do it that way is because you don't want to say that it was just lost money, because you did learn something from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, is there any other questions that you want to ask John while we've got John here?
Yeah. Hey, John.
Yeah. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, I had finally got it all set up there on Gemini. Yeah. But all the questions they were asking me, and I apologize for missing our meeting last night. I had it.
That's all right.
wrong day. But I think I finally, they let me set it up as a personal private investment vehicle.
Right.
Well, that will do
Right.
everything that I need to do.
Because exactly, for Gemini, they ask you all these questions. Is it a money transmitter? Is it a broker dealer? These are all third parties where you're using other people's money. The only one that really pertains to us is this private investment.
Okay, so it's okay. I got it all set then. And I appreciate it. Thank you, John.
Sure. Yeah, it takes a while, but it's worth it. And so you finally got it done. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Craig, have you got any questions? I know you've interviewed a lot of people. You are from the company called Radiant Creators.
Yeah, that's me. This all sounds good. Actually, I joined a little late. I guess one question I would have is, what's your information so that we can work with you?
I manage aceofcoins.com.
Aceofcoins.com.
Right. And there's a free publication on there if you want to download it. It's a PDF. My email should be on there. And you can contact by Skype. And yeah, so that's the best way to get a hold of me. Yeah.
Okay, perfection. All right.
Okay, that's good. So guys, Todd, did you want to ask a question there or?
Hello?
John, this is Bill.
It's Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Hey,
Hi.
John, a quick question. Would you mind just reviewing your fee schedule? I know everybody's going to be a little bit different, but generally speaking, what are the fees for your services?
I like to charge for a project. So I'm going to solve a problem. I don't like to bill by the hour. So if I do a corporation for somebody, it's for a purpose, and it's $497. That covers for the whole year. I do the structure, I do all the documents, and I do all the consulting for the year. If you want to use it for a particular transaction and you don't know, just call me and I can help you set things up. It doesn't cost more after that. I charge $275 for the blockchain trust that goes inside the operating agreement for the LLC. So if you're going to use it for cryptos and you're going to do a lot of trading on the exchanges through a third party, it's good to have the blockchain trust. So that's $275 for that, $497 US dollars. And then there's other pricing depending on what you need. Like sometimes I'll do business credit. That's from $500 to $1,500. It depends on what you're doing. And then I price it again based on projects. It's roughly around that area, 500.
Okay. And do you accept cryptocurrency?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is Todd, and I'd like to just make a personal recommendation. John really is the real deal. I've done probably 3 things of business with him, and when anybody who talks to him more than 10 minutes can just, the guy just thinks so far out of the box and in terms that are unconventional to the norm, which is what we want to be as investors. We're going against what the norm is to make money. And this guy, hands down, just everything I've done business with him with has been brilliant and worked flawlessly. So I want to thank John for all of his brilliant ideas and just being able to steer a lot of us in the right direction. So that was all.
Thank you, Todd. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Todd. It's really great to hear that. And I have only heard good things from you, John. You actually work with a guy that I trust a lot, and we talk a lot as well. So for me, that's really great, guys. I really believe you can trust John with your personal information. Very important that you actually protect yourself, because remember this, my work has taken me to the highest oil and gas companies in the world, and I've also got involved with the highest banking systems in the world. These guys don't want you to make money. You're a threat to them. And the quicker you can set your system up so that you're out of that system so they don't know about you making money, that's the best way to do it. And I really urge you, because remember this, I can tell you now, all our premium members, and especially the people that are on this webinar, I guarantee you now, many people don't like to use the word guarantee, but I tell you now, there's a big probability that many of you will become multi-millionaires. From what we see in our data, and I know our data is correct, you really want to protect your wealth. There's one thing that we said, or 4 things really. The first thing is in our premium membership, we want to help you become debt-free. Then the second thing is we want to help you make wealth. And the third thing is we said that you then, when you make that wealth, and you'll see when you get to that point, that you need to protect your wealth. And this is where John comes in. Before you get to that level, start protecting your wealth now, not when you have already made the money. When you made the money, you're already in the system. So start protecting yourself now. And the fourth thing is we pay it forward. So, John, unless you've got something else to say, we really appreciate that, man. You're welcome to stay on, or you can leave. I know you're a busy man.
Marius, I got two questions for John if he's available.
Sure.
Sure, Bill.
Yeah, and I got one too.
Okay. Two questions, John. Number one is time frame to set one of these trusts up for cryptos, and then my second question is, let's say with cryptos we pay off our house and we've got a house or a couple other properties paid off. Do you have a trust or a structure to protect those?
Yes, I do that as well. I don't like to do estate planning per se, but I do have strategies to hold title and things like that. And also, as you mentioned, paying off debt, I recommend a certain way to do it. So again, you don't take that hit on the taxes with a windfall. There's a way to structure it.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, John, are you able to spell out your website? When you pronounced it, I couldn't make it out.
Yes, it's aceofcoins.com, ACEOFCOINS.com.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Could I have a quick question from a Brit?
Sure, of course.
Hi there. It's Amir here from UK. Do you deal with customers from the UK?
I'm starting to. I have a few I'm working with right now. Yeah, we're trying to etch out some strategies for them to make it similar to what we're doing here. And I'm pretty soon I'm going to put it all together and publish a strategy for the UK and some for Australia, Canada, and New Zealand.
Okay, so you'll be UK compliant with all your structures. Because I know there's a few of us here who are sort of wondering what to do at our end. I'm trying to get them to think about it now rather than later, like you're saying. But we're just starting out, so I probably will contact you by your.
Sure. Yeah, I'm working on it right now. I've got some things, but I want to. I it's hard for me to do it and not actually be there and do it. In the States, I live here, so I can do whatever I want. I can walk down to the Secretary of State's office and talk to people if I need to. So in the UK or whatever, I need to really do some research into the laws there and me even talk to some accountants. So when I do it, then we'll have it published.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. I mean, so shall I just email you at some point and just remind you of our conversations so you know who I am?
Yeah. Oh yeah, please do. Anytime. And I would imagine within the next few months, I'll have something solid you guys can work with.
Okay. Well, I hope I'm not a millionaire by then.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, John, what state are you actually working out of in the
Florida.
US?
I'm in Florida.
Oh, okay. Other side of the country. All right.
Yep. Yeah. Marius, did your members, your 300 members, get the post windfall plan that I publish? Some of them have it, I know.
Yeah, I think some do, but it's something that we can send out to people.
Yeah.
You can or cannot. You're welcome to distribute it to however you want. Because
awesome.
Yeah, it's a 2-stage I use for clients. And just so you guys know, I mean, a lot of people talk about going to wealth managers and whatnot at the bank in the banking system, and so people are thinking I'm going to be worth $3 or $4 or $5 or $10 million, and I'm going to go to the bank and talk to a wealth manager, and you're talking to somebody that might make $200,000 a year maybe, and you're talking to the wrong person. So just keep that in mind. This is mentioned in the post windfall plan. A lot of these strategies come from what I've figured out over the years. I've lost a lot of money and I've made a lot of money. I have a high net worth. And so I have a kind of a stake in some of the things I publish. So some of the things you'll read in there, there's a 2-stage profit taking plan that I use. It ends with the asset allocation. And that's the key thing. So for people that are looking at a nice windfall, you want to have a list of assets, just a list of assets, keep it simple. You can call it asset allocation. If you call it that, you're going to run into a lot of mainstream type information. But really what you want is, see, people think I'm going to retire when I have $5 million. But what they don't realize is in order to keep the $5 million, it's going to be a full-time job to manage it. You're not going to have someone else manage it. And amazingly, over the years, I've received a lot of information and strategies, not from people that are financial planners and so forth. I received it from people like myself that just figured out how to make a bunch of money and then figured out from their friends how to manage it. And I'm always learning. So that's what it's going to be. So really, I think you'll find a lot of the most useful information from other people that have high net worth.
Marius, may I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, guys.
John, this is Tim. I've got a question for you. I've got an accountant and I've got LLC, but my accountant knows nothing about crypto and makes me paranoid to deal with him. But obviously, he files my taxes and that. So, no complication of you working on this and setting it up for him to do my filing.
Yeah, there wouldn't be a conflict. And I would just recommend when it comes to accounting in cryptos, the type of asset you're using is irrelevant to the accounting function. So you don't need to have a conversation with your accountant about cryptos. Likewise, you don't have to tell them how you're investing in real estate and where you're getting your money from. All he needs to see is you got cash flow, it's in your name or it's in your business. Maybe you want to do accounting for the business. Fine. All it is numbers on a piece of paper. He shouldn't have to know about how you got it. And cryptos. Don't have that conversation with your accountant. You're just going to make yourself nuts.
I got a quick question. One more quick question too. Hey, John, I have a couple miners, and I've been mining some Litecoin, and just got a 1099 from one of the companies that I mine from. There's nothing much. I can write it off, but I know I had from another gentleman I had. He referred me to your site just recently. What are your thoughts on that 1099 on cryptos that were mined but have not been spent yet?
Okay.
Any thoughts or input?
Yeah. In the States, U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Okay. So you ask yourself this question. The face of the 1099, it's stated in dollars, right?
Yes.
So does that match the dollars you received from cryptos from your asset?
No.
So then what you do, you cannot have it corrected by the sender, whoever sent it to you, the exchange or whatever, the third party.
He just said I emailed him. He does not want to correct it.
He can't. So what you have to do is send a letter to the IRS and ask for a determination letter. And if you want, I have that. So yeah, it's pretty easy to do, and you'll get it corrected.
Okay. Do I just contact you via your website and reference?
You could do it that way. Yeah, if you get me on Skype, okay, John J. Singleton is my ID. If you send me the 1099K, I'm imagining that's what it is, then I can create the letter. It's a 6-page letter. You send it to the Secretary of the Treasury, and you'll get a determination letter. It should be within 45 days. And they'll correct the dollars because the fact that there wasn't a gain and the cryptos were not yours at the time.
Okay. And is John J. Singleton at Skype?
It's on Skype. It's a Skype ID. So just search for that name.
Okay.
Yep.
John, it's Amir here again. You said that the accountant doesn't need to know where you get your cash from, but my accountant, he's got wind that I was in crypto, and he wanted me to print off my exchange details to prove how much, well, in my case was loss, because he put it against capital gains as a loss. But he wanted to know all the details. He was saying that from every sale of Bitcoin to, say, Ethereum, that was a taxable event.
Well, if you want to have that discussion, if you want to have, all right, this is how it is in every country. If you want to have that discussion, which I recommend not having it, ask him what the taxing statute is.
Okay.
There won't be one. He's been told to tell you that. So if you give him that information, he'll either he'll tell you you have to report it as taxable, or if you don't, I'm quitting. That's what they'll do a lot of times. I'm not going to do your work. So you have to decide. You have to be the boss. You have to decide, look, this is not, I know this is not taxable because I went from silver to gold. Okay, cryptos are defined as property. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's that way in all jurisdictions. So it's just like if I sold my gold for silver, there's no tax consequence there. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
John, one more quick question. If you're trading on Coinbase, and let's say the only options you have on Coinbase, let's just pick on Litecoin. If you're trading Litecoin and the only other option you have to hold it in is US dollar or Bitcoin, they don't have a USDC coin, and you trade in dollars, but and then take your dollars and go back into Litecoin. I mean, I don't see that as a taxable event in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. Yeah. No. It depends on who the account holder is.
Okay.
If it's you individually, likely there's going to be a tax consequence, even though I don't agree with that. Because, I mean, but it's in your name. The account is essentially titling the property in your name. So the fact that you receive dollars or local currency, the tax authority is going to say it's taxable. And you're not going to win that argument.
Even though you haven't pulled any out in your bank account, because you're trading it in dollars on the.
Okay, here's where the liability comes in. It's when you have the right to spend it in fiat. When you have the right to spend it in fiat, then it's a tax situation.
So it is better if you're going to trade from like Litecoin to the USDC coin or Bitcoin versus Litecoin, correct?
Yes, unless your account holder is a tax deferred structure. Yes.
Okay, so that's where then the tax structure that you want to get set up is, so that way you're trading it in that structure, so that's not a taxable event. That's kind of what you're talking about, correct?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome, John. You're very good information there and great questions, guys. I would really urge you to get back to John Singleton. And John, hopefully we've given you some business here, and we really appreciate what you do in the crypto community.
Thank you, Marius. Anytime.
Yeah,
always appreciate it. Yep.
Marius?
Yes.
Can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is Arnie. And John had just done this for me in the past month. And it's just like he says it was. I'm very happy with the structuring of the LLC he did for me. And I'm 100% satisfied. I'm relating this to my friends. So you'll be getting a lot more business, John.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Awesome, John. It's really always great to hear there's good people in the world that actually provide a service at a reasonable cost and give good service. We really appreciate that, John, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So we don't want to hold you up there too long, John. You're welcome to stay on if you want. And we're just going to get into a market update quickly for the week, just for our premium members.
Okay, sounds good. Appreciate that.
Yeah, awesome. So guys, as you can see on your screen here, and just for all the new people that came on board, if we have a look at this retracement here of 84% here, Bitcoin was there at 20,000, that came all the way down and retraced 84%. That is not a big problem in the world. I know everybody talks about this bear market, but guys, I want to give you the confidence that we have never been in Bitcoin in a bear market. I had a meeting this week with a professor at the University of Queensland, and I actually showed this guy a lot more data that we have. And this professor is very well known. If I mention his name, you'll actually know him. He's a very well-known guy in the world stock markets as well. And when we looked at all the data, he agrees with me that we are in a cycle that the world has never ever seen before. Although Bitcoin has got a market cap of, or the cryptocurrencies of about $130 billion, what you see here on the charts is something, as I said, that the world has never ever seen. Bitcoin at the moment, or the cryptocurrency markets, are moving 12.7 times faster than the Dow Jones. And people are going to realize that this trend that we are downwards, they'll realize that in about 4 years from now, that this has never ever been a bear market. The bear market is coming. And when that comes, it's going to take Bitcoin from 3.5 million down to $20,000. That will be the big bear market. And many of you guys have seen the granular cycle that we've shown you guys before. That granular cycle, just go to some of our old or previous webinar reports. When you see what we show you there, you will realize that this is a huge, big, massive thing that is developing here in front of our eyes. Now remember, $130 billion is still a drop in the bucket. Now, if you look at this 84% downturn, that's exactly what happened here also in 2013. And let me zoom in here, and I'm going to show you how right back, way back in the day, when Bitcoin was still really at infant stages, look at that. There we go, 87% decline. And every single time when Bitcoin declined about 87% or 85%, it shot up. Like this one here, for example, made 1,000% gain and more. And as you go through these charts, you'll realize that every single time the markets went up, it dropped down. And this is nothing different. Of the of the super wave structure that we have identified, this is still leg one. And I've mentioned this many times to people here, so I'm not going to go through that again, where this could even just only be leg one, a retracement, and then you get your leg 3, 4, and 5. As a matter of fact, it goes up a little bit more. As I say, just go back to the old reports and have a look at that. So we are probably the only people in the world that says that this is not a bear market. And you'll see that if you go through the reports that we've shown you before, then you understand what is really happening in the world with Bitcoin. The next move up is going to be a stunning, massive move. Let's quickly have a look at the Bitcoin report. The market came all the way down here from the left-hand side and dropped into this low level here of 3125, where my mouse is now. We then had a stab upwards, which was about a 25% increase. And from here onwards, exactly on about around about December, we had the American shutdown, which lasted for about 30 days, taking Bitcoin all the way down. And we went up to AA there. We dropped into BB. As a matter of fact, let me just show you this. I actually did it on a webinar just before I came to this. There is a probability, if you look at your reports, that this block was there and that we said that we expect the market actually to go that way and that this market could drop down into that block. We believe from data that we reviewed early this morning is that could have been the low, and that Bitcoin now is heading up from that low point up into this level here. Now, it's not a problem if the block is identified at the wrong spot, let's say there or there, as long as the market doesn't go downwards, but it goes upwards, because we're in the business of protecting our capital. We don't want to lose a dollar. So the market went up here, and I believe that this market here is going to do something like this, where it's going to stab up like that, and is going to do that 4 times and hit that level there. And we could have a double top there, and then come all the way down to there. Now, there's what we need to understand is that this block here could happen between 5 March and about 12 March. The reason I say 5 and 12 is because we can have a double top, a top there and another top there before then declines into DD. At this point here, we expect to retest that low of 3125, and let me just get my mouse here sorted. And I'm just going to go quickly through this because I know many of you have actually seen that. And then once we head into DD, now we expect that low to arrive there. As I say, we get this 200 and the 50 EMA, or the moving average cross. It's going to be very difficult for Bitcoin to actually break that. It can happen, and I'll show you now what could happen. But if we do break down into DD, expect that block. Now, just remember that block is actually a little bit higher. It's only just brought down. The $8,000 mark is about there. And we could see that very, very high trend upwards, and then a drop down, and then shoot back up again. So it gives you an idea of what's going to happen in the next month or two. But let's focus on this one here, because we need to identify where the high point is. We here at Premium members in the business of Bitcoin Trend and Forecast, we get out on the high and we get in on the low, meaning that we want to get out right there, the high point. We want to take our profits and get out of the market. Now, believe me when I say that many, many, many people are going to start buying here. As soon as we get over the $4,000 mark, that is where the general public gets into the business. Just to find that it hits a top, it comes down, it makes a second top, and then it drops. We need to get out when those people get in, okay? And then we sit with cash on the side and we wait for this drop, then we buy back at the low. That is how you make more Bitcoin, more EOS, more Litecoin. When you sell on the high and buy back on the low, and we repeat this throughout the year. I believe that the minimum gains that we are going to make during this year is 500% gains, minimum. And if we play this right, we can make up to 2,000% gains during this year if we jump around from coin to coin. For example, Litecoin. Let's get into Litecoin quickly. This is the Litecoin chart that we prepared. We see in our algorithm data a 9-wave structure, meaning that here right at the bottom that we already headed up to 1, we dropped into 2, and now we're heading up to number 3. Very soon, I believe that we are going to have this breakout upwards where we are going to head into $68 Litecoin. We're then going to have another drop, and it actually goes up 9 waves up to that top. That top is expected to be about $144, but as I say, it could hit and stab through to $191. You don't want to sell right at the top, because to get that top, to identify the exact top, whether it's 170, 150, 190 is very difficult to do. That's why if this plays out, and we'll know in the next 12 days, once we get to this level here of 124, we start selling 10% of our Litecoin. As it goes up 10% more, we sell, as it goes up a little bit more, we sell 10% again. And we ladder out our buys. So we ladder out into cash. And this again, guys, is where a lot of people are going to get into the market. As soon as Litecoin hits $100, people are going to jump in. And this is why we see that stab through to a 191, because people are piling on now into Litecoin, and it creates a frenzy, and people start buying. Again, at that top level there, that is when we are out of the market. When the hordes come in and buy, we get out. We rather take our profits. We don't have to take profits here and test our skills at 191, although we say that the high point could potentially be 191 max. We don't want to sell on the top. Because remember this, everybody's going to sell at the top. You won't be able to sell. So you have to start laddering out as we get up to the top. Now, keep in mind that this top, we reckon the top could be about 5 March, maybe between 5 and 7 March. Now, incidentally, what has happened is that this actually lines up with Bitcoin as well. We believe that Bitcoin is going to have this 4-wave structure up to that level there. 4 waves, Litecoin will have 9 waves. Now, if I say 4 waves, let me just clarify. If I say 4 waves, it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the same as Litecoin, still 9 waves. We believe that this could be the top, and Litecoin could reach the top as well. So there are 2 indicators that we're going to look at. When we get to this level at around about 5 March, we're going to look at and see where Bitcoin is, and then we're going to look at Litecoin, where Litecoin is at that point. At that point there, we'll provide new reports, new updates, and we're going to get out of the market. Now, we expect Bitcoin from this level here to go up about 25% to around about that level there of about 4.8. And when you look at Litecoin, obviously Litecoin from the level where it's now is going to make, we had it in here before, but we reckon about 185%. So you can see that Litecoin will totally outperform Bitcoin. Now, one caveat that I just want to give you here, this is what our algorithm data sees at the moment. These spikes upwards could be very low. And if they are low over the next day or 2, it could bring the entire market, where we say that it's going to reach the 144, it could bring it down slightly. If that happens, I'll provide an updated report for this. But for the time being, we are targeting the 144 range. Now remember, at this point here, 144, I may be sold out of Litecoin probably about 60%. I'll still leave a little percentage there in case the market goes up. And if it goes up, I'll take advantage of that and start selling in 10% increments out of the market. Because right at the top, I don't mind if I've got 10% left over in Litecoin and I can't sell it and I have to sell it at maybe $100 Litecoin. Still means that I still made another bit of profit. But to identify the high point, look at this 9-wave structure, and then we also look at the 9-wave structure, the 4 subways it goes up, but a 9-wave structure for Bitcoin to reach the high. Now, one other thing that I just want to mention here, don't be surprised if Litecoin comes here and stabs through and goes up. When we get to this point here, I'm still going to start selling out of my cryptos because we use Bitcoin as a barometer for where the cryptocurrencies will go. Once we see that Bitcoin gets down to this resistance line here at 4648, we know, for example, that EOS, wherever EOS is at that point, is that we will also have to get out of EOS and other cryptocurrencies as well. Okay, so that is just a general idea of what's happening at the moment in the market. It's one of the most difficult things that I've seen in cryptos at this moment, and that is to identify this high point here. But I still believe that in that block, that is where we are going to have this high point, because this over here is very, very big resistance. That line there, if you look at that one there, and the next resistance is obviously around about there. Now, if we do break that, two things here. If we break that black resistance line there and we break that EMA line there, then most certainly we're going to get up to about 5.5. But I don't see that going higher than that. I see the market first retracing. It must come back. And remember what I said, guys, the powers that be that manipulate the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency markets, and you can say whatever you want, we've got so much data of manipulation, it's just not funny. This market is looking way too bullish for me. And if you look at the report, in the report I actually mentioned that as well. If you go down this report here, that last sentence there, let's rather be cautious because what is happening in the Bitcoin markets is way too bullish for my liking. And when everybody is settled in and think they will double their money, then could come the unforeseen drop. So be careful. Our first goal is to protect our capital. And this is why I say here, guys, at that level there, start thinking about it now. Plan what you're going to do. Just work it out with your timeline, 5 March, 12 March. And if we want to get out there, and if the market does drop, we do believe it's going to come down here, and then we see a massive uptrend. And I'm not going to go further into this. Some of you have seen what happens after this. We've got the whole year planned out in our algorithm. We know where the market is going to go. So this is our play for the next month or two. Keep that in mind. And over the next 12 days, we're only going to focus on that high point because we want to get out on that high. With regard to other cryptocurrencies, you've got your report now, which is the top 40 crypto report. This is the report that will have that picture on there. That picture is just a resemblance of Litecoin that you really need to make sure you've got Litecoin. We see a huge gain in Litecoin and a big chance to make some really good money back. Now, if you look at this top 40 crypto report here, they're in alphabetical order. And remember that this is what we expect for the next 12 days up till about 5 March 2019. Now, although we give these figures here, still do your own due diligence, do your own research. Use this as a guideline for your investments. When we prepared this report, and I looked back at the previous report that we did, it was so scary for me to see that we were accurate on so many of these calls, that they literally went and touched exactly the point that we said. And I hope that people sold at those points and treat this as very important. These are kind of like the average targets that we see the market will reach. For example, if we get very close to ARC on 0.82, start thinking of selling. You can't go broke if you take a profit. Don't try and be clever and start doing day trading, because many people lose in day trading. I still have to find people that really make money in day trading. First of all, you sit in front of the computer, you sit there the whole day, you have to check it, you can't sleep. And with cryptocurrencies that trade 24/7, you have to be a lot more careful. So it will make you really tired. I've tried it, it doesn't work. You know, and I've got a lot of skills, a lot of resources. I do make money, but not enough. It's just not worth it. What I have found over the last 3 or 4 years is if you do the swing trade, I don't like the term swing trade, but let's rather say if you sell high and come back and buy low and you do those trades, you will make an insane amount of money. Last year, we made 518% in a down market. Okay, so, and this year we expect to make a lot more, and this year is going to be an up market. But just remember this, guys, in a down market, you can increase your Bitcoin. If I start, for example, in January 2018 at 20,000 Bitcoin, and I sell there and I come back at the end of the market, by the end of the year in 2018, and I buy Bitcoin back, I've literally doubled or tripled or fivefold the amount of Bitcoin I have. That is what you want to do. You want to increase your cryptocurrencies. Forget about the dollar value. The dollar value will take care of itself as the market now moves up to 7, 8, 10, 20 and beyond. It's going to happen. So, but what you want to do is to increase your cryptocurrencies. Now, have a look at all these indicators here. Those that are marked in yellow have probably a really good chance of going up. But I'm going to show you an indicator that you need to look at. And remember, the last thing that we don't want a kindergarten. We want people that think for themselves. For example, I can't recommend to you to use John Singleton's information. You need to make your own decision. But I really want you to think about that very clearly, because we want you to protect your money. So in that sense, I would say go and use it, but I can't force you to do it. As I say, it's not a kindergarten. You have to take your own steps. It's a small amount of money to pay to protect your wealth. And I didn't get paid by John Singleton. He doesn't pay me a cent, guys. Instead of him paying me, he's rather giving you a good price to do the work. So let's have a look at this indicator that I talk about. And this indicator, let's have a look. I may have, yeah, let's go to Digibyte. That's a great indicator. Okay, now what you can see here is that this one here is the 50 and the 200 MA. I'm just going to take that off. And what I'm going to work here is with the 21 and the 55 EMA with the RSI filter. And you can use the 20 or the 50 day. But what is really important here to see is that any cryptocurrency, like for example, Digibyte, we are now on Digibyte and I'm on the daily chart here. You can see that Digibyte broke through this orange line and now it's just trading there above the green EMA. And that is what you're looking for. Every single coin that is trading above that line there. And what you can do, you can just go to indicator on this platform here of TradingView and maybe just type in 21 EMA. And it's going to bring it up, or just type in, let me just say 21, and go and search for the 8, 13, EMA, that one there. There's a whole bunch of different filters, or just search for the 20 and the 50-day EMA. So once you get that, you can double click on that, and you can see in my case what I've done. I've just taken the first two out. I've taken the 8 and 13 out, and then I've got the 21 and the 55 there. So if it trades above that, if it's broken above that, you can see how bullish Digibyte is at the moment. And by the way, this coin here, Digibyte, in our data has just shown us yesterday that the minimum gains for this could be about 68%. And don't be surprised if Digibyte all of a sudden in the next 12 days goes up 100% in profits. So if you own Digibyte, keep what you have. Otherwise, invest the rest of your money probably in Litecoin. And remember, this is not investment advice. Remember, we always say that this is an educational webinar, and all our reports are educational as well. Let's have a look quickly at another coin, and I'm going to have a look at EOS, for example. Now, EOS, let's quickly go and put that indicator on their favorites. Just wait for that indicator. Now you can see the EOS is trading above that line as well. Here's actually a very, very good indicator. Let me just clear my screen here. So you want to go and put that filter on there. And can you see there? And let me just take the input style. I'm just going to take these two off. So I only have the 21 and the 50. Now there's a nice little cross there. That is what you want to see. When you see that cross, you can see what EOS has done. The reason I'm showing you this is because when you go back to this report here, which is the top 20 crypto or top 40 crypto report, if you take, for example, add X, you need to, all these coins, you need to have for this. This is a perfect example what you want to see, where you get that cross. When you see that cross, there's momentum behind the coin, and it's more likely to explode and go upwards. So I hope that helps you guys. The report is out there. And there's nothing else to really talk about except what I want to bring to your attention here is XLM. XLM is one of the other coins that are really poised to explode. You can see that all these fractals, it's come down into these fractals 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Normally here at fractal number 7, we have a massive breakout. There's a lot of contracts or great deals that XLM or Stellar has signed with IBM. The price, I think, is just suppressed so that financial institutions and big guys can get into the market here. But we really believe that when it starts moving, that this thing could move really, really quickly. We may for now see a move upwards, perhaps to this level here, a drop down, and then the big move a little bit later. But I'm just giving you an overall idea of what could potentially happen. One of the other things is, let's just quickly go back to this report here. You've probably seen this data here regarding Bitcoin Cash. There's a lot of rumors going on, and I want to mention this as a rumor because I do not have physical objective evidence. I have spoken to some high-level people that know about this, and they all confirm that yes, there is a deal with Amazon and eBay in the works where Bitcoin Cash could become a part of the payment system, and they plan to announce this by the latter part of this year. So just keep an eye on that. That's something for us to have a look at. And then the other thing is that, let me just quickly get to this. Most of you know that we've added the KBC coin, this one here. On 21 February, we've added that to our secondary coins. As a matter of fact, this can actually become your tertiary coin, depending on where you want to put it. If you want to keep it long-term, just put it in your tertiary under your 5% portfolio. And some people have bought 1 million coins. I've seen a guy that bought 5 million coins here on this webinar. And I won't disclose your name. Now, remember about KBC coin is that by 4 July 2019, yes, within a few months, the company guarantees that KBC coin will be 40 cents or they buy it back. It's backed by gold as well. I don't know how they do the backing, but this is what they've done. And you can go to CoinMarketCap and just type in KBC. The world does not really know about the KBC coin yet. There's a lot of people that has bought it. Now, can you see already what is happening? While Bitcoin and all other markets are starting to go down, this thing has gone up 3.8%. I bought here at 2.6 cents. It's already now 2.9 cents. As soon as I release my videos, guys, you're going to see that this thing is going to explode from 2.9 to 5 cents to 10 cents to 20 cents, and it's going to go up to 40 cents. So invest carefully in this. Do your own research. If you go and search over the internet, you'll find 50% bad news about carat gold. You'll find 50% good news. All I can tell you is that I work with Tony DeVoe, who's a very great guy. I know him very well. He's part of the Work Your Wealth team. I know them from South Africa, from Europe, from America, and I've done a lot of work and business with them. And he's involved in Carat Gold. That is the company that supplies the debit card. You guys are probably aware of the debit gold card, the MasterCard. Now, what I do, I use that card to shift my money from Bitcoin. I use the Bitcoin to buy gold. I then sell the gold into euro, and I use that card to pay for things all over the country, here in Australia, or when I travel. I've just recently bought a flight ticket with that. So I use my money for that purpose as well. Now, we're not talking here about the tax avoiding, but maybe you can ask John Singleton about that as well, about the Carat Gold debit card, how you can buy gold and the effect of that on your tax and implications of that. But this is what we use it for. But you can already see that this coin is actually now moving upwards. The rest of the world, the rest of the public has not yet got this information, because we have been secretly mentioning this information to teams, to people in our memberships, and not all people have really got all the information yet. Once we know that our people, our premium members, have got all the coins they want, and most likely what I am going to do, guys, is we are going to run Litecoin up as high as we can. And remember, it's only about 12 days, 5 March. Once we get out of that high, we could use about 5% of our profits, and we take that profits and we dump that in our KBC coins here, and we dump it in there. And then we ride the wave upwards with that money that we made, the profit that we made, and we see where that takes us to. But from here to 40 cents is 1,400% gains. You may want to put $500 or $1,000 in. And I can tell you now from all that I've investigated and what I know and speaking to people, it's a solid company. There will always be good news and bad news about a company, because behind Carat Gold is the company that does a multi-level marketing company. Many people are against multi-level marketing company, and it's only a lack of information. There's nothing wrong with a multi-level marketing company. Many people refer to it as a pyramid scheme, but guys, the biggest pyramid scheme is the government that sits on top, that take our money and we work for them. That is a pyramid scheme. Don't write companies off because they're multi-level marketing companies. There are very good multi-level marketing companies, and people are making a lot of money out of that. If you don't work in a multi-level marketing company, you won't make money. So then forget about that. Look at this coin here and look at the guarantee that the company gives. It's backed by gold, where they say that they will buy the coin back. And you saw the report, the post that I posted on the Telegram message board, the comment directly from the owner of the company. So keep that in mind. That is probably the only changes that we have. Ethereum, I still see Ethereum perhaps hitting about this level here, 218. So it could go up a little bit higher to that level, but that's max. But again, come the 5th, 6th, 7th March, wherever that high point is where we need to start being very careful. If the high point is at $218, then we know it's going to start turning. On the 5th, 6th, 7th March, if the high point is at 177 for Ethereum, then it's going to start turning. My personal recommendation is that I will start getting out at 175. But remember, in the Ethereum report, I do mention that it's going to go upwards to about $218. But be careful, because it may not hit that level there. It may only hit this level. And that's why I say never ever be greedy. Take your profits. When you make 10, 20, 50, 100% profits, take your profits. Most of you guys know that I only trade with $500,000, $500,000, because I trade with that because it's a very nice amount to trade. You can have about 10 or 15 coins. Don't have more than that. 10 to 15 coins is more than enough. Use the strongest, secure coins that you have. Don't worry about all these other coins that make 2,000% gains. All you see is the gains, because when it goes up and when it drops 4,000%. Stick with the large coins, make those small percentage gains. When I make those gains, I sell and I'm out of the market. So that is about it. I lost my train of thought there now. But is there any questions, guys, so we can quickly answer questions? And feel free to have a chat if you've got anything to share. Let's just go ahead and share that.
Yes, what's the best market to purchase KBC, Marius?
The best market is go to their own exchange, which is caratbit.com.
Caratbit.com.
We've been there.
Yeah, caratbit.com. So that is the best.
So how does it work? They hold coins for you? They hold coins for you, Marius? How does that work? Who owns the coin?
That is correct. Well, in this case, the way that I see it is that my coins are on the Caratbit exchange, so they hold it for me. Now, I don't know, somebody else mentioned to me in an email that they managed to move the coins off to an Ethereum-based process. I don't know if that person is on the call here. Maybe you can explain to us how you did it. I'm not too concerned about my Caratbit. And full disclosure, guys, I own 1 million coins. It sounds a lot, but it's not a lot. I think it was about 24 or somewhere in around 20,000 or so in Bitcoin. But is there anybody else that have moved their coins off Caratbit? I'm not too concerned to leave it on Caratbit because I know the guys, I know the company, and they're backed by gold. Now, you still need to be careful. Remember this, this is what I said when we posted this information on the channel. I said to everybody, go and do your own research. Come back and give us that information. And many
Marius, can I just ask you, since we're on the subject, they said that they will back it by 1 gram of gold. Is that right? One coin?
That is correct. 100 KBC will be backed by 1 gram of gold. 1 gram of gold is about $44.
Oh, Okay, so if you own, I don't know, 10,000 coins, that's 1,000. Wait, that's 1,000 grams, isn't it? Oh, no, I'm sorry, 1 to 100.
1 to 100.
That's correct.
Because I'm thinking that 1,000 grams of gold is like 1 kilo, and that's a lot of money. Is that 1 for 1, right? And like, where is it in that ratio?
I can't work the ratio just like this now, but all I know is that 100 kbc is equal to 1 gram. So they back it up. 100 kbc by the 4th of July will be equal to 1 gram. So that means that more or less, if gold does not go up too much now, if it stays where it is, 1 kbc coin will be worth 40 cents on the 4th of July.
And Marius, this is Mark. I have also talked to the company as well, and my understanding is that on July 4th that happens. Then if you continue to hold your KBC on, it's either November or January of 2020, it will be a 75-to-1 ratio.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. And also, I did buy it on the exchange. And when I bought it on the exchange, I did transfer it into my Ether wallet. And I do have some on the exchange. So when I talked to them, they said, if you have it on their exchange, they actually have it, they put it into a cold wallet.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Yeah. Well, that's good information there.
Marius, what exchange is he talking about?
The Carabit.
Yeah, I know. Oh, the Carabit.com?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and this I checked it out earlier too. The KBC is an Ethereum-based token, so you can store it on your Bitfee wallet or a different Ethereum-based wallet if you have one. Ledger right now doesn't support it. Doesn't look like it.
You can probably import it into a Coinami wallet because
I have it in my Atomic wallet.
And then, but if you go to their website, they've got, and they also have a YouTube channel. It's got a couple of videos on there, but the website tells you about how they got started and what they're doing and where the goal's at and all that kind of thing.
Their eventually what he wants to do, because they own the mine, my understanding is they're going to acquire a couple other mines over the next 3 years. And then by 2024, they want to be able to do an even exchange of 1-to-1 ratio gold to the token. And the token is, whether you have the KCB or the KBC, they're going to combine them together. They don't exactly know what they're going to call it yet, but if you continue to hold that coin by 2024, it'll be an even exchange, 1 gram for one token. That's their plan.
Yeah, and what you want to do, guys, I've just got Tony de Gouveia. I've got him here on social media, which is Twitter. I should probably follow him. I've just managed to get into their inner circle. And let me just show you this, and I hope I can remember to cut this out. But yeah, I probably won't show you that. But I'm just in the inner circle group, and this guy is well known. Go and follow him on Twitter as well. This guy is the guy that was talking on that video. I know he's got a really thick accent. And would you believe that I literally took this guy out of premium membership and I refunded his money. Because a very arrogant thing to say. He said to me that Tony de Gouveia has got a very thick accent. He sounds dumb, and he doesn't believe this guy. He sounds like a scammer. And guys, don't judge people on their accent or what language they speak or whatever. I speak, for goodness sake, 6 languages. I speak Korean really fluently. I speak English. I speak Xhosa, Vanagalo, and I speak Afrikaans, Dutch, and I understand German as well. So don't judge people on their voice. If you listen to that video, it does sound like a thick accent, but behind that accent is a very, very smart guy, a multi-millionaire. He's a South African guy, but he's involved in so many businesses and involved in so much in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Once you know this guy, and I've met him here in Australia, one of his partners, as a matter of fact, just bought a house not far from me, here in the Sunshine Coast in Australia. So we are going to team up and do a lot more bigger business, and you can really trust this company, Carrotbit. But again, do your own research. Be very careful. If any of you guys come out with any information, share it. Let us know, because I'm not getting paid to promote this to you, because I will never ever do that. I'm not going to take money and promote a certain coin. I don't want to do that. Carrotbit, I'm in Carrotbit because I believe in the business and I use the product myself. I buy gold, I sell the gold into euro, and I use it on my debit card, a debit MasterCard that is anonymous. So that's just my part of the information. So if you are on Twitter, go and follow this guy. So yeah, I know somebody else, there are some questions there. Please go ahead.
One question. I'm just trying to get my head around. Why was the purpose of him promoting the price that eventually in July is going to be 40 cents? Obviously, it's going to attract a lot of people to buy in there. But how does it help him? That's what I'm trying to understand. Because sometimes if something's too good to be true, it is.
Yeah, but
this is a very good gain if you get in now.
But remember this, guys. I've always said to you guys, some of you are here now with me for about 2 or 3 years, and some of you guys are in my other businesses. I'm not just making money out of cryptocurrencies. I'm a smart guy. I've got a lot of businesses. I invest in properties. I invest in gold and silver. I'm in other businesses as well. Now, Tony is the type of guy. Let me just mute everybody here quickly. Just unmute yourself if you want to talk. Tony, believe it or not, guys, is one of the good guys. You find these people, they're very rare. Tony has said to me, Marius, present this information to your team. Let your people come on board and buy KBC. We're not going to make this open to the public yet. But when all your people have bought all the coins that they want, then we're going to go public. I mean, they can throw this out now. I guarantee you, if I take that video where we recorded Tony and Tony talks about it and I put that on YouTube, the price will jump to 10, maybe 15 cents. Like literally in 1 week. That's only with me. And Tony has asked me, said, Marius, please do not post anything on social media or on Twitter. Wait till everybody is in. And I believe that we are going to give it a bit 2 weeks. Now remember, KBC is not a new thing. It's been around for about a year, I think, when the people got into it first. Now what happened is last year, the market went all the way down and it pulled KBC coins down as well. You're literally at the bottom where those people a year ago bought it at this price. So we've got this opportunity now where we're heading into the 4th of July. And I think there's no bad intentions from Tony behind the scene. He doesn't get paid for that, but he is one of the whales. Unfortunately, I had to block out his information on that video. I think he's got about, it was about 156 million of these coins. I think he's one of the top 5 holders of this crypto. These big whales are not going to sell their coins. They've already decided they're not doing it. Because if they do, it will crash the market. But they all are just accumulating. So we're getting into into working with the big guys. We know who the whales are. They've already told me in our meetings and private conversations they're not selling. So this is an opportunity for us to make some money. I'm not going to invest more than 1 million coins. I've got 1 million coins and that's it. If 27,000 or 20,000, I don't know how much it was, if that turns into 1,400%, it's some really good money there. So that's all I'm willing to invest, because, you know, there's other coins too. In the meantime, I'm investing in Litecoin. And it's like I say, you know, when we reach this high point in the next 12 days, if this plans out and it works out really well, and even if I just double my money in Litecoin from now, I'm happy. Because that means it's a huge profit. Then I'll take a percentage of that, maybe another 20 or 27 or 30,000, and buy another million coins. But I'll do it with my profits. There's a backing from the company. And just to get to your question, why is Tony doing it? I think Tony, if you know Tony grew up in South Africa in similar conditions that I grew up. I grew up in an orphanage. Tony grew up in South Africa. It's what we call in South Africa, he's a chara. A chara means that he is a Portuguese guy and his father owned a little shop. It's a little shop. It's like a corner shop. If you imagine 20 or 30 years ago, all these little corner shops, and we call them charas or Portuguese people. The father worked there, the son worked there, the mother worked in that little shop where they would sell groceries, a little small shop, groceries, bread, Coca-Cola. And this guy, if you hear his story, is just unbelievable. His father at one point gave the reins over to him. He went and took that shop and created multiple shopping centers. And he's literally became a multi-millionaire by just using his own knowledge, working hard. He's for the little guy. And I tell you what, I only want to surround myself with people that are for the little guy. You guys know, I've told you the story that I grew up in an orphanage. I went to the military. I went and studied in America. I was really good at university, did really great results. I went in and worked for Shell. I moved up in the ranks of Shell, the oil and gas company, to the top of the company really quickly. They valued my opinion, and I still do a lot of work for them. From there onwards, I developed an algorithm that I used in the oil and gas. I then used it now in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. And that information, the work that I've done, took me into the CEOs of big companies of Shell, BP, Woodside. I started working with them. They introduced me to the bankers. I was one day in New York, invited to go in and meet these bankers. I did. I was appalled. While these guys were drinking their wine and smoking their cigars, what they were saying about the middle class, about the poor people, how they will run up the world stock markets, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and how they will use the media and certain people to say certain things and then drop the market while everybody gets in. My jaw hung open. I left there and I couldn't believe what I heard. And at that point was the point when I started moving these bankers out of my life and said I don't want to do business with them. And still today, I don't like the bankers anymore because they are not for the little guy. Believe it or not, guys, the bank is not your friend. They don't want you to make money. They don't want you to make profit. As long as you stay poor and you're reliable on them and you have to get a credit card and you have to have loans, then they're happy with you. You go and cancel all your accounts. That has happened with me now. I don't owe anything to the bank anymore. Okay, the bank is now getting suspicious and they've canceled one of my accounts. You know, so much so that I had to go to a different bank account and open an account just to hold some of my money there. The banks are awful and they can't understand that there are still people now that make insane money and don't need them. Now suddenly on my accounts, there's now a $25 fee every month on my accounts, which was never ever there. Why? Because they don't make money out of me. Because I haven't got a loan with them. I don't use their credit cards. I haven't even got a credit card. I don't use it. You know, I've got a Master Gold debit card through Carrot bars that I use. So Tony, in my opinion, is just a really good guy. And in time, we may get him on this call. And when he talks, you're going to realize that this guy is for you. You can go and search him. Go and search for Tony de Gouveia. He's all over the internet. There's a lot of YouTube videos about him. Go and listen to what he says. This guy is in property investments. He's part of a company called Work Your Wealth. They teach people to invest in gold, silver, properties, all sorts of passive income. But anyway,
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, don't get distracted too much with that. Just go and do your own research. Feel free to post your information wherever we can find it, you know, and come back and share it with us.
Hey, Marius. Can I ask you, when you take your sell your Litecoin, how many different options do we have to turn it into cash or into cash and then buy again lower? What is the best way to do that?
Okay, let's quickly have a look at that, if I understand your question correct. Okay, when Bitcoin hits that level there, and let's say we assume that Litecoin will be at that high level as well, at that point there, we're going to get out of the market. Now, personally for me, what I am going to do, I will get out of the market. I will then sell either into USDT or through USD or any other stable coin. Most likely what I will do at this high point, because I'm regarding this as a high point, because we are going to wait another week or two to get to that downtrend. And I'm not going to leave my cash on the exchange. In one of the exchanges in Hong Kong, for example, I will sell out, I will move it into US dollar, and then I will take the US dollar and move it into my HSBC account in Hong Kong, and then it lies there. So that is what I would do. Now I've got Litecoin everywhere. I've got Litecoin on BTC markets as well here in Australia. Again, I will sell out of Litecoin. I will move it into Australian dollars and then move that money back into my bank account in Australia. When I'm ready to buy, I simply move that money back on the exchange and then buy Litecoin again and then put it in my hardware wallets. So that is kind of what I would do. Some of my coins there are some Litecoin that are on exchanges. Majority of it is in Bitfee wallets. So I'm just busy sorting it all out now so that it's all amalgamated. And I'm not going to put it all on one exchange. The volume is too big, because you won't, if you click the button and you say, for example, sell X amount, the exchanges won't allow you to do it. So you have to use 3, 4, or 5 different exchanges to get out of the market. And also, guys, sorry, just the last point that I want to mention. Remember, I've also got a lot of Litecoin that I trade for my Middle Eastern partners. They have instructed me not even to sell Litecoin. Okay, so they're keeping. They don't worry about where the market is now, where it's going to go to a high or low. They see Litecoin hitting 3, 4, 5, 6,000. That's when they will sell. So just keep that in mind as well. If you hold, you can hold as well. But my recommendation is that we try and get out as high as that level, wherever that level is. This is a chart that I have made, and this is what I want you guys to understand. This is what we see in the algorithm. There's still 12 days to go. Anything can change. And if there are changes, I will let you know. Currently, the high point that we see is 191 max. 144 is when we're going to get out. Yes, just ask that question. I don't know who asked that question.
Hi, it was Amir. Sorry, Amir, the Brit. The state of, you're saying about taking money out. What do you think about putting your money into a stable coin like USDC, which I think you can put onto a hard wallet? So that means you don't have to mess around with putting money into bank accounts and stuff. You can just quickly put it into a stable coin and shove it onto a hard wallet.
I've got no problem with that, but for me personally, USDC, you know, I don't see a problem with that, but the safest way is still to move it back into fiat. But just remember, although I say move it back into fiat, it depends on where you are and what country you are. If you are in the UK and you move it back into fiat, you now created a tax liability. As long as you keep it in a stable coin or into cryptos, you haven't activated a tax liability. In America, it's different. Doesn't matter what you do. They want you to record every transaction. But the same with us in Australia. We don't have to record our taxes while we are trading in cryptocurrencies in Australia. I have to record the tax when I move it out into fiat. Okay, so if your objective is to protect yourself against tax, yes, then use a stable coin. Now remember, I've got different companies. Just go and talk to John Singleton. I've got different companies where I trade with things all over the world. I've got a South African passport, a New Zealand passport, Australian passport. I'm an American citizen. So my things are very complicated, but it also makes it easy for me. In New Zealand, I can earn $37,000 in profit before I pay tax. So I've got a company there that I work, and personally I earn income there, and I can do the same. It really depends on your own circumstances. And while we are on this subject also, guys, if you live in any country, America, for example, go and see if you can start the process of creating another passport in another country. You know, when you start making money, when you start making $2, $3, $4, $5 million, you'll be happy that you heard me saying this today. You don't want to do it when you have the money. You want to start the process now. Get the ball rolling. And I suggest become an Australian citizen, you know. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Marius, I'm working with John Singleton. I'm in the U.S. I'm in California, so
awesome.
I really recommend people to go ahead and start getting ready, because once we start making profits, we gotta have some kind of a corporation set up so we can have some kind of a tax flow, or use the corporations in order to not pay the taxes at the time that we make profits. So we can get in and out using the corporation, and that's how we defer our taxes. So I really recommend you guys work with him. He's really knowledgeable.
Yeah, thank you.
Mario, it's Bill. Just a couple things on second passports if people are interested, because it's something I'm in the process of doing. It is not easy to get a passport. It is not easy to become a citizen in Australia. I lived there for 10 years, and I was sponsored by a big American company and had a visa and every opportunity to do it. But for tax reasons, I did not. But just as an FYI, getting an Australian passport and becoming an American citizen or an Australian citizen or a permanent resident without sponsorship by a company or investing a couple of $1 million in a business it's not impossible, but there are easier places globally to get a second passport and become a permanent resident. So there's a number of South American countries that are, I'm not going to say easy, but easier and are less expensive. There are a couple of European countries as well. If you do a search on, believe it or not, YouTube, everything you need to know and how to do it, you can find on YouTube.
Exactly, Bill. No, that's good information, and Bill is correct. Getting to Australia is like very difficult. But if you do want to do it, just tell them you're my brother.
I've got an amazing attorney in Sydney, immigration lawyer with Baker & McKenzie. If anybody needs a referral, I've got, as I say, probably one of the best attorneys in Australia. And they're not cheap, but they're excellent. But like I say, there's a couple South American countries I'm in the process of looking into.
Morris, I got a quick question about EOS.
Yeah, sure.
You had said earlier in the week in one of your bulletins that you had sold about, I think 40% of your EOS around 350, 360.
Correct.
And I was just wondering what your current thinking on that is, as far as it continuing up or coming back to a good pull point for re-entry.
Yeah, we sold a bit of EOS. I can't remember exactly where it was. It was somewhere at a high. We are now past that point. So if I buy in now, it will actually be a loss. I expected the EOS to drop a lot further than what it was, because if you look at Bitcoin year 2, and guys, this is sometimes we can just have it marginally incorrect. And this is where the trolls like to hit you and say, oh, you were wrong, you were wrong. Like, remember what I said is, we said that we expect that to happen, that it's going to go down into that level there. But anything can change. And as I say, as long as the market just don't go down, then I don't care. If the market goes down, I'll feel horrified because we didn't protect you against that downtrend. But we were convinced that we couldn't go lower. But looking at the data since early this morning, I woke up at about 4 o'clock and we were re-looking at data. I believe that low point is now there. There we go. So it did hit that low point because it must do, look at this, A, a B, C, and look at where they are. A, B, higher and low. That can be higher than the other A. So what you do find here now is AA, BB, CC, DD. So this is the next pattern that's going to play out. My apologies. What was your question there again?
Well, you had said that you at about, again, a little maybe around 350 or so, you had sold about 40% of your EOS position.
Yes, that's correct. So
I'm just wondering what you're looking at as far as, do you expect it to drop down to a reentry point, or have you changed now? And do you think it's going to go ahead and head on up to that 570 without offering a reentry point?
Yeah, it's not going to offer that re-entry point. So sometimes you lose, okay? So
Yeah.
look at this, and from there onwards, from what I had a look this morning, new data that we have is that we're going to have this 4-wave structure. It's going to be something similar like this. So this drop here, you're going to see in the next day or two, and I believe probably or hopefully tonight, that we will actually have a stab upwards and then go back up. And let's quickly have a look at Litecoin. Actually, Litecoin will show us at 10 o'clock. The new candle starts in 5 minutes, and we'll actually be able to see it here. The new candle could be a green candle and just shoot. Don't be surprised if this new candle goes right up to $67. Don't be surprised. It can easily happen. But yes, we've lost that entry point with EOS. Now, what I'm doing with that, in that case, I'm not going to re-enter the market with EOS here. What I am going to do, and I'll probably do this directly after this call, instead of putting that money in EOS, I pull the money out now, and I'm going to put that money into Litecoin. Because Litecoin still at about $48, $50 in that range is a very good buy. Because I believe I can double that money. Okay.
Marius, is this a spike you mentioned earlier that you're expecting of 20 points here, from 48 to 68 roughly?
Yeah.
Is this a spike?
Yes. If you look at this one here, I expect that we're going to have a spike here now, which is this one here. Now, remember what I said earlier. We expect that level. We expect it to go to that level there, which is that $68 there. See that level there? So for that to happen, it must happen in a day, 2 or 3. It must happen. If it doesn't happen and we go sideways, then it could bring the entire high point of 144. It could bring it down a bit. But don't be surprised if that happens as well. It could happen. But in my data at the moment, we are here, and I see a spike upwards here into that level, wherever that's going to be.
Okay, but overall, you do expect your 9 points wave to get up to above $140 here. Is that correct? I missed your beginning of the presentation. I'm sorry, in the webinar. If you don't mind repeating what you're expecting to happen.
Yeah. Okay. So
Thank you.
Now, in real terms, what I normally used to do, we never did this incremental changes there, because this is also what I said, don't do day trading and don't try and get out on these little tops here and think you can get in on the bottom there. You're just going to lose. It's like me losing with EOS now. If I get back into EOS, I'm going to lose about 6% of my money. That's why I'm rather going to put it in Litecoin. So you lose very quickly too. Many of us, we try to get out on this high point here because we thought that Litecoin, remember when we recommended this the first time, and let's go back to that. We initially said that the first spike should be at about $40, which is there. Let me pull that down. 40, maybe 42 max. Look at that. It just went stabbed right through and it went up to about $48. It should have then retraced back to about 35, but it only retraced to about $39.37. So it should have retraced about back to where my mouse is now. So that was a higher spike than what was anticipated. And those who just simply held their Litecoin didn't lose anything because from there it just went up there. But the same with me. I got out somewhere here at 46 or 47, and I bought back here at 42. It's not really worth it, all the stress. Simply just hold and ride it out. So in real terms, many of you were with us last year. We would simply just give you a big arrow like this, and let me draw that arrow. We would simply say the market is going to break out here and there is your high point. And then we would give you another arrow and show you that the market is going to go down here. And so we only focused on the trends, and then something like that, and then after that we see the market actually dropping to, believe it or not, but it drops back to about $70 or $80. So, but now what we've done is we've given you these incremental up trends because we've identified this 9-wave structure. Very interesting, actually. We identified this 9-wave structure. Now think about this, guys. We identified that somewhere here in January. So people forget to give us credit for the fact that we can see things in advance. And this is our data that shows it. If you are here and you have to tell me where will the market go in the next 2 weeks, nobody in the world can do it. I see so many analysts that copy our work. It's not funny. It's really amazing. Simply because these people don't have the data that we have. And this is what I'm realizing now. Even well-known names. If I mention the names here, you'll say, oh, I know the guy. I mean, it's unreal. We do our own work. I barely look at other people's data. I look at it when people email it to me and then say, but look at this, somebody has now got the same information as you. But for example, let's have a look at this for just quickly. Like us, for example, mentioning to you that that we see Bitcoin going. Let me just get this out of the way. Is how can anybody in their right mind be so insane to come up and say that Bitcoin is going to head up there, then we're going to retest there, and then we're going to go up there and come down here again? I mean, people are just too scared to make these calls. But we see it in our data, and I'm not scared to come back to you and say I've made a mistake. You know, but if we do, I'll try and warn you guys long before. We are not perfect either. But it's not like people on social media, you see so many tweets, yeah, he never admits that when he's wrong. Of course we do, you know. When we're wrong, we're wrong. But anyway, let's just get back to that Litecoin call here. So we expect that the market is going to eat up to that top, but it could go up. Remember what I said, it could go up there to 191 max, Boris. So the way that we're going to get up, it normally does, and this is very interesting actually, I just see it here now. It always does a loop. See that loop there? We call it a belly climb. And that is
Marius, you're breaking up. I'm sorry. Hello?
Okay, Boris, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now better. We're breaking up, so I couldn't hear.
Yeah, so if you look at that red line, we say from the bottom here that is going to go right to that top, and you get kind of like a belly, and it speeds up. And we're right down at that belly where it's going to go sideways, but it has to break out at some point. Now, if it doesn't break out yet, it may break out later, but then the next breakout will be violent and it will catch up. But this is more or less the 9 waves that we see, Boris, with that belly climb.
Okay, and the time frame is March 5th, correct?
Yeah, I brought that date. I brought the date a little bit forward to 5 March. And again, this is still something that I'm investigating. Bitcoin seems to be 7 March high and then 12 March. Now, what Bitcoin does, if you haven't been here, we see Bitcoin make a top, come down, and make another top. So it kind of like creates a double top. And so that double top is something that we're looking at. The first top is about 7 March, about 2 days later than Litecoin. And then the 12th of March, and then it comes all the way down. That date is not yet quantified. I'll bring that date to you here for DD, where that's going to be, but it's approximately about 14 days, a 2-week decline. Okay, so that's what we have at the moment, and there is the Litecoin chart for the time being. Any other questions, guys?
Marius. Marius? Are you able to address on Litecoin kind of what you see the remainder of 2019, where these low points and high, kind of where you see the wave and maybe some of the price points that might be along the way?
I can. I can, but people will be disappointed when they see what I'm going to show them. It's not the all glory coin that you think about, you know. It's the big move in Litecoin. Okay, let me give you guys this. Let me just move this out of the way here.
Is it similar to the chart I sent you?
Yeah, I can't remember the chart that you sent me now.
I did a 4-year cycle. I went back 4 years where Litecoin popped over 50 3-day moving average. I can't remember what I did now.
Yeah, me neither. Look, I'm starting. I'm 50 in 4 months from now, and you know, when I was little, 8 years old, when people turned 50 and had that 50 party, I thought, man, these people are old. They're dinosaurs. Now I'm 50.
Yeah, my memory's going as well. Late
and
nights.
And I can't understand. I still feel like I'm 20. Look, what's going to happen with Litecoin from here? And let me just get my algorithm data here. Okay, you're going to look at about. Okay, there's going to be 2 moves. And one of them is going to be, let me say, from wherever this drop is, you're going to look at about, where is that now? Around about here in April, okay? Here in April is going to be, and I'm just drawing this now from memory, we have another spike where Litecoin goes approximately till there. And I'm rather going to show you guys, and you guys have got an idea what's happening. Now remember, this whole trend, wherever this low is, the whole trend is upwards, slightly upwards. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and we get, well, probably not that. It goes over a period of about 50, that's 200, and that's 300, probably about, yeah. Okay, there's one spike there. And then the next spike is about, it's about 170 days, I think. Okay, I can't work out 170 days here. That's 70, okay, that's 70, 140, it's about there. Then we get another spike, a little bit higher, about there. Now, the next thing, this is what I say, at this high point here, we're going to get out. And for about 50 days, I'm not even going to be in Litecoin. I'll be out making money in other coins. And then when...
Where do you see that high point you just marked? What on the calendar?
This is about April. I haven't got the exact dates, Christopher, but the high point there is about 122 Litecoin, and this one here is about 145 Litecoin. Now, what happens here?
What month do you see the 145, Marius?
Let me see. What is 170 days from today? It's about 6 months, so
okay,
that's August.
August, okay.
Yeah, so this
is
the halving. Yes. Okay, that's August. This one here is 50 days, so that's a month and a half. So it's January, February, March, April, year round about April. Just more or less now, just to give you a big view picture. Okay. So many people, so the problem, guys, many people are, when this Litecoin spikes, do you know how many people are going to buy Litecoin just to find out that it's only going to go sideways? We'll be out and we'll invest in other coins that will go up. And I'm going to bring those to you, like, for example, Digibyte. Now, it's not a problem if you hold Litecoin, don't get me wrong. If you sell on the high there and you come back and you hold Litecoin here on the bottom, you simply just hold. And when you get to that high point here, you sell again, you buy back low again. If you only trade Litecoin for this year, yes, you'll make an insane money. Now, what is happening now is in approximately, this is the big thing, and I'm the first to make this call here. In 315 days from the breakout here, which is about, what is this? It could be November, perhaps. Okay. I think it's November. I can't remember. Litecoin is literally going to do this. In one day, this thing is going to shoot back up to about somewhere there. Okay. Then people are going to think this is Litecoin. But that is not even where it's going to stop. This thing will just literally, let me just draw the next arrow in. It's literally going to go like this again. And this will happen in about probably about a week. It's going to go ballistic. Now, if you're not in and you don't hold Litecoin here, you're going to miss that big, big, big spike. Then we see Litecoin. I haven't got the figures yet on Litecoin, but in my opinion, and I'm just too scared to say that now, but it could easily reach $1,000. Because otherwise I'm wrong again, you know, but I'm just telling this here for you guys private. I believe that Litecoin is going to go up to $1,000 very, very quickly. There's a video that I made last year where we saw the same data, and the same data is presenting itself here now, but in an uptrend, not in a downtrend. Remember, this is an uptrend. The market is going upwards. Last year, the market, entire market went downwards. So this uptrend, that momentum is going to push it up like really, really quickly. And what is going to happen here, the quickest way to see that is you're going to see like a green candle being formed here, like a big, big, big green candle. And that's going to be the breakout of Litecoin. And remember this, the bankers that were on that call, JP Morgan, Digital Assets, and all those people that were on the call, they said they're going to take Litecoin up to between 3,000 and 6,000. Now, I don't know if they can manipulate Litecoin in that way, but I think it can happen because they are the people that suppress the price of Litecoin. You have to remember the price of Litecoin where it is now, it's ridiculous. Our data shows a $380 Litecoin. It's unreal.
So the Litecoin halving won't make any difference in price in August. A little bit, a small spike.
A little bit, but this price spike has got very little to do with the halving of Litecoin. You're going to see a lot of people are going to talk about it. The thing is this, guys, when people start talking about the halving of Litecoin, many people now already buy Litecoin, and Litecoin prices it in before people talk about it. So even the news where Litecoin has made a deal with a specific company now to speed up the transactions doesn't do a big spike in the price of Litecoin. It's like I said last year too, when that debit card or something came on with Litecoin, I said that's not going to have a big influence on the price. This is typical what we see in data now, where the big bankers just run it up to make money, slow it down, run it up to make money. You have to remember, there's one thing about these bankers that many people, and I see it on Twitter, they haven't got it, it's called patience. Those bankers, they go into the morning, they have their coffee, they eat their bagel, and they sit there. They can wait and wait and wait. Because by the end of the year, that financial guy who works there and who's employed, he just needs to show that he's made a 300, 400, 500,000% profit. Doesn't matter when he does it in the year. They're going to do it regardless. The problem today is that many people, and especially in America, and this is not a derogatory comment on Americans. I'm married to an American. I know. I lived in America for a long time. I love America. I love the American people. This comment is really pertinent. Many people want to go into a hamburger joint like Burger King or McDonald's, and they want their hamburger in 1.5 seconds. When they get their hamburger in 1.5 seconds, they complain because there's something wrong with the burger. It hasn't got all the sauce on. The patty is not warm. Yes, but you wanted your burger in 1.5 seconds. They can't wait. Many people just can't wait. You know, we simply wait, and this is how we're going to make the money. In 2017, I traded 70 or 80 days. In 2018, I think I traded about 90 or 100 days. So far this year, I'm a lot more in the market now, there's never been a day that I've been out of the market, because it's a lot more difficult now because we have to jump around between coins. And the reason I say we have to jump around between coins is simply because of what I put in the report yesterday. If you look at this, EOS went up 155%, XLM went up 2.7% since 15 December. So all the money, if I had 100,000 in XLM, I only made $2,700 profit. If I had 100,000 in EOS, I would have made a huge amount of money. So we have to now start jumping around coins to make profits. That's why I'm going to get out of Litecoin when it reaches the high. And at that point, we will identify the other coins, like, for example, Digibyte, which I think is due for a big explosion. And Bitcoin only went up 25%. It's become a lot more tricky to trade in Bitcoin now. Anyway, so this is the analysis what we see for Litecoin at the moment. So it will give you the long-term view picture.
Thank you, Marius.
All right, thank you.
Marius, this is Vince. What is the projected low point minimum you think it for Litecoin here after on the 4th, 5th, 6th of March?
I think we put it in the report. Let me just.
And you've got $80 in there, but I mean, do you think we're going to be hitting below $80, or what's the range you think at the moment from what your data is? 70 to 90, or?
Let me just quickly check and.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to that chart here. Let's get a clean chart. No, I have to go back to this one.
I mean, basically, if we only hit 120 for a high point instead of breaking 140 and even higher, do you see the pullback down to below $60, or not that severe?
Okay, the pullback, our data shows, it might be a scary thing for you to know this, but our data shows that it actually comes down below the $60 mark. Round about where this arrow is, about $60.
Well, it's good to know for thinking purposes to ladder in on the way down. On the way up.
So from 140 to 60, is that what I'm hearing, or 190, pretty much?
Boris, we don't yet know where.
This is an enormous drop, Marius, right?
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
But if we expect, yeah, if we expect this close to what 3x move up to 4x here, and then drop like that, that's over 60-70% drop, isn't it? Or
yeah,
my math is off.
Yeah, it's going to be a big drop. Now, let me just clarify the 191. The 191 is the biggest indicator that we see. Now, what you have to remember, when a market, let's say also if we are correct that this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is going to play out, let me tell you what happens after wave 9. On a wave 9 like this, and I never ever knew that there was an Elliott wave count for wave 9 till somebody sent it to me over the last few days. Now, we identified this in our algorithm, that it goes up 9 times. What happens here on wave 9 is that people are piling in on Litecoin. You don't. While we will be selling, more people will coming in. And what happens is, because of that FOMO, the fear of missing out on the profits. Remember, they missed 50% here, they missed 100, they missed 150, they missed 200%. Now everybody says the market is still going to go up 200%. That's where they get in. Now, then they get in, and because of them, they push the market up to 191, just for the market to come to an high point, because everybody else that knows, like you, me, and all the good people and all the banks, they know to get out there. They are selling out, but other people are getting in, the mom and pop investors, the people that don't know. And because of that, the market drops and it loses then momentum. It always happens after a 9-wave structure. If this is a 9-wave structure, I tell you now, Boris, this could potentially, my target in my opinion is about 80, but it could come down to 60 as well. But remember what happens in cases like this, Boris, is like I showed earlier. When it drops, it comes back very strong again, and then it tries to, it's like a coil, it tries to get its feet, and it doesn't know where the market should be. So it does that. Let me just use this. It does something like this.
So we'll have plenty of time. There will be plenty of time to get back in if we sell out completely, correct?
Yes, exactly. It will do something like this for a few months. And then on the long term, what it's going to do, it's going to form like this. This is always what happens exactly after a 9-wave, like that. And then what happens then is, there's your breakout. Remember the first breakout that I said that happens in April or somewhere there, I can't remember now, where it breaks up and comes down. And then
it's like a market cycle, huh?
Yes, exactly. And then it goes on like this again, but it goes sideways upwards, and it repeats this pattern again. Now, after two,
so sounds like
yeah, go ahead.
Sounds like there is at least two opportunities to accumulate more coins, and the first one is enormous. If that price is gonna come in like this, that's just unbelievable. And to pick it up later at $60 or $80 from 140 to 190 high, that's amazing. I hope so. Let's put it that way. I'm a believer. So far, everything's been working great.
I hope so too, because it's time that we start making money here. Look, crazy things are going to happen in the crypto world. Crazy stuff this year. And this is one of the crazy things as well. Now, we've already had that 1, 2, 3 wave structure. We're just waiting for this to play out. So let's see what happens over the weekend.
Marius, if I just snap a Fibonacci on there from our low that we hit all the way up to 190, the golden pocket ratio is $86 to 76. Okay, that's the 0.61 to the 0.68. But Litecoin traditionally actually retraces, from what I've learned, and again, I'm not an expert or anything here, but what I've just observed, about a 0.876, which at this point is right about $58. So your $60 is about a 0.786 if we go up to 190. Interesting thought. I thought I'd just share it.
Well, that's very interesting. Thanks.
Good to be a farmer.
This is where we're going to.
Where is 61.8? Where is their golden ratio? Sorry, just curious. Since you already have Fibonacci on that thing, where's the golden ratio at 61.8? What price?
86.55. And then 86.55, and then 76.09 is the 0.68.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, guys, for the purpose of this today's webinar, I'm just going to close the webinar down. So thank you for everybody that's been on the call. Have a great day. So, yeah, let's stay online. Those who want to leave, I'm just going to click